Yo, back again, double upload, like I said. Right, listen to this one. We're here to talk about cryptids. I'm very passionate about cryptids, bro. Very, very passionate. You do not understand. I am very passionate. Like, Bigfoot. Okay, let's talk about Bigfoot. It's time. It's time we discuss Bigfoot. Because is he real? Are they real? I don't know. I'd like to think so. I think the child in me is like, yeah, Bigfoot's real. You know what I mean? Like the Loch Ness Monster. I think the Loch Ness Monster's real. I'm not even asked. Who's going to say anything to me? Can you prove it's not? Exactly. Exactly, mate. You can't. Fuck it, it's real. Something's there. I seen a video the other day. Yesterday. Yeah. And it's like new Sasquatch footage, and they reckon they've caught like a mother carrying a baby across a river, and it's just like a big orangutan. You know what I mean? And like when I was looking at it, it got me thinking. I was like, plausibly, they could exist. They really could. Because there's a lot of, I know it's like, oh, you believe in Bigfoot, Muppet, you know what I mean? It's like, no, like, when you think about it, really, if they're these like magical creatures that we say they are, then obviously you're not going to be able to find them because they don't want to be found. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's some like you've got to be like pure of heart type of thing where it's like they appear to you because it's like, you know, you're cool, we trust you, you're sound. You know what I mean? I've heard a lot of Bigfoot accounts. I've heard some positive ones and some negative ones, and like there's ones where like they'll surround like a campsite and like throw rocks and shit and like go like make noises. I'm not gonna make the noise because I can't make the noise. But yeah. And then there's some positive ones where they like help people out and shit like that. And it's like they protect them. And it's interesting because it's like, what are they? My personal take on Bigfoot is if it's not a mythical creature and it's like Forest Jesus, that is what it is, you know what I mean? But I personally think Bigfoot is just a small population of like great apes found in the Americas, basically. You know, like orangutans, but like in the Americas. Because when you think about it, the Americas span from Canada all the way down to South America. So you've got monkeys in the jungle in South America. Why wouldn't there be monkeys in North America? You ever think about that? Why aren't the monkeys in North America? Maybe there are, and we just haven't found them yet. Or maybe we have found them, but they just don't want to say anything about it. Who knows? But it doesn't really make sense to me personally. Because if you find a species in an ecosystem, in theory, you should be able to replicate that ecosystem and get the same species. You know what I'm saying? If you have a rainforest, you get snakes. So if you add another rainforest, you get snakes again. You know what I mean? So how come they've got rainforests in South America and it's like loads of fucking monkeys, loads of different types of monkeys, yeah? You've got all these mass expanses of wilderness in America. No monkeys. But it's the same continent. Where does the monkey stop? You know, what stage does the monkey stop? Because some of America is very hot. It's hot enough to sustain monkeys. You know what I mean? So I just tend to think if Sasquatches or Bigfoot, whatever you want to call them, I think if they're real, they're probably just very intelligent apes. And the reason we've never found like any remains or anything like that is because if they're as smart as we are, elephants are as smart as we are because they bury their dead. That's why there's elephant graveyards. They like bury the dead. Could be Bigfoot graveyards, man. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised because it's not just a human concept. You know what I mean? Burying your dead. Sorry, I think I'm getting a call or something. But like, the concept of burying your dead is like, you know, it's not. Humans like to think they invented everything. They never. Elephants do it. You know, it's either instinctual or it's not. That's just the way things are. That's your instincts or that they're not your instincts. So I could see, because monkeys are so close to people, if there was a slightly more intelligent version in the Americas, they could bury the dead. Especially if they were so clever, they'd be able to avoid detection. because they wouldn't want to be seen, and they know the woods better than us because they live there. You know what I mean? If something lives in the woods and you see it, that's because it wants you to see it. Always remember that. Say if you're in the woods and you're like, oh my god, a bear, that's because the bear wants you to see it. If it doesn't want you to see it, you won't see it. It's that simple. Bigfoot doesn't want to be seen, you won't get seen. If he's not asked, then you'll see him going down the shop for a fucking Hovis 50/50 and a pint of milk. You know what I mean? But moving on, I want to stick with the Americas. I'm going to have to look around my room because you're not meant to talk about them. I feel like they're watching me. Skinwalkers. Skinwalkers are real. Shapeshifters are real. Listen, they're real. 100%. They are in every culture dotted around the world, spanning the entire length of time. They're real, 100%. There's so many fucking... 1 out of 5 people have seen something like that. You know what I mean? That's not crazy. They're just predators that hunt people. Do you not think, like they mimic your voice? And that's like, oh, it's spooky. So do parrots and crows. It's something animals can do. You know what I mean? It's not like they can say full phrases. It is broken up like a bird's. Like when a bird says aya, it's not like aya, it's like aya. You know what I mean? So like, if they've got the vocal cords necessary to mimic people, but they can't do it properly and they communicate in other ways like chirps and growls and shit like that, then it makes perfect sense. I think they exist. I am not arsed. They exist. They live in the woods in America. There's like rules if you go into the woods in America, and it's like if you think you hear someone shouting your name, you don't. What do you mean? What do you mean? Who's shouting your name? It's the fucking skinwalkers. I'm telling you, bro. They're real. They're real, and they try to hide them from us because they are. We think we're above everything in this world. Human beings, we think we're above everything. We're not. The way nature works is there's chains. It's food chains. You know what I mean? So like, the early bird gets the worm, and then the cat gets the bird, and then the dog gets the cat. You know? It doesn't just stop. There's got to be something to kill everything. Human beings aren't apex predators. We're fucking useless when you think about it. We've only survived so long and done so well because of our brains. We're not exceptional. Like sharks, perfectly tailored to their environments. Apex predators. Crocodiles, apex predators. Lions, apex predators. You know what I mean? These are things that are like unstoppable in their environments. Humans aren't that, bro. Humans aren't that. Humans get bitched by everything I've just mentioned. The only reason they hide, I think they hide the fact that these things exist from us is because these are our natural predators and they can't have the populace scared. You know what I mean? I think skinwalkers, shapeshifters, whatever you want to call them, they're real, 100% real. Don't care what anyone has to say. They're among us. They live in the woods. They'll shout you at night. Always close your blinds at night because you never know what's looking in at you. You never ever know. That's something they always tell you. If you're ever by the woods, always close your blinds at night because you never know what's looking in at you. Do you not think that's odd? Do you not think that's odd? Why would you do that? You're not even meant to talk about them by name because it attracts them. I think, things get lost in translation somewhere down the ways. But if they're not real, they were at some point. 100%. I think realistically, it's just a humanoid species that lives in like caves. Like maybe a genus of human that never evolved past living in caves. And over the millennia, they've become so pale and the eyes glow because it's animalistic, you know what I mean? That's what they are. They have like the sharp teeth and they can mimic your voice and that. It's just humans, but a different type of humans. Where like we split somewhere down the way. Like humans and monkeys, like monkeys went that way, humans went that way. Humans went that way, shapeshifters went that way. You know what I mean? I don't think they're necessarily shapeshifters. I don't think that's what it is. I don't think they can physically change the form. I think they're just really clever. And they'll use things against you. like mimicking your voice. You know what I mean? I think that's where that comes from. I think they're 150% real. You cannot convince me otherwise. You really can't. Another thing I want to talk about, vampires. Vampires are real. They were at some point. Of course they were. Mad, aren't you? There's so many stories about them. Of course they were real at some point. I think all of these myths and legends, I want to go back to vampires, but I'm going to make another point first. I think all of these myths and legends, they've got to come from somewhere. Like dragons. What do you mean? There's a fire-breathing lizard in England. What are you on about, lad? There's no lizards in Wales. What are you on about? You killed a fire-breathing dragon. What the fuck's a dragon? Where'd you get that from? You don't just make that shit up. You don't even know what a lizard looks like, so how are you describing one with wings and fiery breath? Look at Komodo dragons. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Komodo dragons, yeah. Lizards, obviously. Lizards make sense. But the lizards, massive, really fast, and the bite is venomous and stings. I think dragons were just big lizards, bro. I think they were just big lizards that have since died out, and I don't think they actually breathed fire. I think they just had venom and toxins in the bite that made you feel like you were on fire, like it stung, it burned, you know what I mean, when they got you. Like Komodo dragons, the venom in their, like, saliva decays flesh quicker. That's like the, you know, the thing, and they grab you and like decays your flesh with the venom. I think that's what dragons were. They might have had wings. I don't know. They might have, they might not have. But I think it's that big lizard archetype with a venomous bite that inspired dragons. You know? And look, this is an interesting video because I am discussing these cryptids and why I believe in them. But I can back it up because it's like, it's common sense. Just think about it for a minute. Stop believing. Like, ghosts exist, of course they do. I think it's probably just little weird points in time where it's a bit like, ooh, you know what I mean? I think that's all that is. I don't think there's nothing to be scared of. I think it's just a point where the universe is a little bit, you know, like, what's the word? Liquidated, maybe? Where it's just all a bit like seeping into each other and everything's a bit like, oh, you know what I mean? Because the idea of time is man-made. What do you mean it's 9 p.m? It's not, it's 10 p.m. I can't tell the time. Ignore me. Yeah, I think, so the idea of time is just, it doesn't make sense really when you're deep it. It doesn't. So I think it's perfectly logical for these little like holes and slips and spaces in between to exist. And I think things can inhabit those spaces. Just because we can't see them doesn't mean that they're not there. You know what I mean? Like, it's like germs. You can't see bacteria on your hands, right? You know, unless you've got a microscope or something. I think I've got a splinter. But unless you've got a microscope or something, you can't see bacteria. But don't mean they don't exist. Germs exist. Germs get you sick. Germs kill you. I think things can live in these in-between pockets, whether it's dimensions or time, space, whatever. I think things can exist within these because why wouldn't it? If things can exist in any walk of life, anywhere, why wouldn't they exist there? Next point. Aliens. Aliens are real. If you think otherwise, you're a fucking fool. The universe is infinite and ever expanding, and you think this is the only planet to have life on it. Full of shit, mate. You're an absolute wanker. You're full of shit, lad. You're telling me that we are the only life forms in an infinite universe with infinite chances of things happening. Shit like that? Nah, mate. Nah, bro. I'm not having that. I think you're a liar. I think you're just scared of aliens. Maybe they want to probe you or something. I don't know. Aliens exist. 100%. 100% they exist. And I don't even think it's like this UFO bullshit. I think it's just probably just another planet out there with like life on it. we say humans, it's this human fallacy that I keep coming back to, and it's like we think we're the best, and it's like life as we know it, and it's like, what do you mean life as we know it? We only know one way of life: destruction of everything around us, ever consuming hunger until we eventually just burn out, and we've got to move on to something else. Look at what we've done to our planet. You know what I mean? It's that same cycle of greed and consumption that human beings are just in constantly. It's life as we know it. What if there's life that we don't know nothing about? Like I said, with the ghost thing, maybe it's just a different thing entirely from us. Maybe it's just sentient gas. Or maybe it could be anything. I don't know. I'm not clever enough to know these things. I am not an alien. I'm not a Men in Black person. Why did I say it like that, bro? Why did I say it like that? But yeah, I just think cryptids are real. Do your fucking research. Megalodon is extinct. That's not a cryptid. That's just a fossil. What else do I want to talk about? Loch Ness Monster's real. Do you reckon it was a plesiosaur? So I went over that in the last video. I think that's all the cryptids I can think of right now. The ones that interest me the most anyway. So I've discussed them and I've laid all this out on the table for you. And now I'm challenging you. You go and do your research. Find out. The truth's out there somewhere. You just got to figure it out yourself. You know what I mean? Just think about it. Anyway, I'll see you later.